Did it work?
Yep.
Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
No last time, I guess.
You just said we got to go before I lose my frickin' mind.
Yeah,
and so I was like, oh man, hit the gas pedal. All right.
At least stick to format. It helps me cope.
Okay.
I'm gathering
Energy.
Hold on. Okay, just
Last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, we talked about the beginning of the Garlic Jr. saga. I lost my mind a little bit, and Gohan and Krillin are the last ones left. But it turns out the Krillin and Piccolo were faking it the whole time. Here we are on today's episode of Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
I know that you're like under a lot of pressure right now, but if you could do like a banjo remix of our
you mean
theme right there, that would be like chef's kiss.
You have a banjo.
I do have a banjo.
You just play it. Bow down, bow 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 bow.
It's a good instrument.
You know what isn't a good instrument?
Please tell me.
Piccolo.
Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
And I don't know who I am, but I'm here.
And John's having an existential crisis. Today we're going to be going over episodes 113, 117 of Dragon Ball Z. And finishing off the Garlic Jr. saga. I think I speak for both of us when I say good. Episode 113 of Dragon Ball Z. The Japanese title is Can't Wait Until Morning. Kami-sama determines a suicidal course of action. The American title is Suicidal Course.
I can start to perk up a little bit because my favorite part of this whole saga arc thing is what happens with Kami.
Yeah.
So my episode title is the one where nothing is explained and I shouldn't be as upset as I am, but I'm still mad. So last time we got into the Garlic Jr. arc, blah, blah, blah. There's purple mist. It makes him evil. It's been revealed now that Krillin and Piccolo were faking that they were under the influence of this mist.
Correct.
How were their eyes purple?
They used their key energy to change their retinas, perception of their retinas. Do you really want to ask this question?
I do. I need an answer, and I'm sorry I have to tell you no, because that's bullshit. That's me.
You could easily say that it's a Namekian power, but then Krillin did it too, and it kind of screws the whole thing up. Maybe it's just because it's what Garlic Jr. wanted to see.
They didn't know they were faking it until they wrote down that they were faking it.
Oh, you're talking about the writers. I actually kind of agree with that. I think you have a filler arc and you go in without a plan and you just try to fill out the episodes, and this is what happens.
I have to believe that this is like the Rise of Skywalker situation.
Yeah,
where
like the trilogy. Yeah, for sure.
People came in and they're like, oh shit, we have a huge mess that we need to somehow tie all these loose ends and clean it all up.
What if Piccolo and Krillin were faking it? I bet you that they were like, hey, Toriyama, can we use the character of Garlic Jr.? He was in that non-canon movie, but we want to use him for the series. He was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. And then they had to figure out 10 episodes worth of crap to put that into.
They did. So, okay, Piccolo was one of the good guys all along, though, right?
Since he was bitten, quote unquote, yes.
Okay. I'm just thinking of that moment where Piccolo takes 2 minutes of the show's time to strangle Gohan to death.
Oh, I'm glad that you talked about that because he mentions that specifically. This episode opens with Piccolo calling Garlic Jr. Garlic Breath, which is a great little insult.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a nice little flashback of Piccolo biting, quote unquote, Krillin on Kami Tower to turn him evil. And it's revealed that he actually whispers sweet nothings into Krillin's ear in the form of a plan, which details his idea to attack Gohan, keep Garlic Jr. entertained until they can get close enough to take the glass bottles containing Kami and Mr. Popo and set them free so that they can turn the world back to normal.
I have another question about this Blackwater Mist stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it just spreads around the entire planet, right?
It does, yeah, in a wave.
Because Gohan left the cave and he's not affected by it. So it waves over and it turns people permanently evil in 24 hours.
Yes.
So this is like the most fucking powerful thing ever introduced in the show next to Frieza.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Well, arguably more powerful because Frieza can destroy the planet, but like if your entire population is evil,
it's way worse than a loss.
That's way worse,
almost.
Yeah. Although I'm surprised that nobody said, hey, we could wish everybody back by using the Dragon Balls.
They don't talk about the Dragon Balls
at all, which you'd think we'd be happy for because they've used it as like sort of a get out of jail free card before.
Yeah.
But in this instance, it's like the easiest way to defeat Garlic Jr. is to use the Dragon Balls.
because I guess we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. Yeah, but I agree with you.
So we cut to a city, and this is
yeah.
I love these little cutaways.
Every single cutaway to like planet Earth, just regular people, is the best part of the show.
Yes. It's in ruins. It looks post-apocalyptic.
The world has gone to hell.
Yeah, 3 hours, maybe 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything is destroyed. There are mobs of these vampire zombies, people with the big guys wandering around the streets, just breaking shit. There's a shot of them just beating a car to death with hammers. So they band together, but not against each other, though.
Right, yeah. That's what I said last episode. It's very confusing. Apparently, they're all under Garlic Jr.'s control.
Yeah, and
that's sort of what he implies, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense.
And so we find two normal humans, unaltered.
That have somehow avoided the fog, yeah.
Yes, who knows? Doesn't matter. So they're in a building, destroyed building.
They run into one for shelter, yes.
And as they're hiding, they're talking about how, this is it's that mist stuff. It turned them all evil. We have to go. From the darkness, you see tons of little beads of red appear. And we know from the last couple episodes or a couple episodes ago, that's just like creatures in the night.
That's what color that's how your eyes go.
Yeah. And so cats out of nowhere.
Evil cats.
And they kill them.
Yeah, they just attack. It's insanity. It's amazing. It's the best shot of the entire saga, probably.
It truly is. It truly, truly is. So then we cut back to the whatever the fuck.
So they're battling inside Kami Tower, right? And it's Garlic Jr. and 2 of his 4 henchmen, because the other 2 has been dispatched.
Yep.
Kami and Popo have been freed. Yes. Everything's in rubble and ruins. And Popo says, if we have the sacred water, we've got it in our hands. They got it away from Garlic Jr. If we put it in the 7 air currents of the world, it will spread fast enough to counteract the mist and return everybody to normal before they permanently turn evil. And he mentions a hole like in the floor, in the room that they're standing in. If we go down there, we can reach the 7 currents, the 7 air currents. We can pour the liquid down. It'll spread all over the world. We'll save everybody. And then he mentions these 2 notes are very close together, but they must have been separated by minutes, because the next thing he says is that there's somewhere within Kami Tower is a cemetery sort of thing where all the guardians of Earth go when they pass away.
Right.
They're going to have to go through that to get to the place with the 7 air currents to distribute the cure for everybody that turned into a zombie.
Right. Yeah.
And somehow they're having this 5-minute long conversation in front of Garlic Jr., who does not attack them or try to stop them in any way, but instead lets them have the conversation and come up with a plan to defeat him.
For me, that's typical Dragon Ball Z.
It is typical, but here it's particularly egregious.
It is, and here's what makes it worse for me. Kami didn't know about any of this shit. Kami didn't know about the 7
Mr.
currents of the
Popo
world.
is the one delivering all this knowledge.
Yeah,
for sure.
And Kami is like, oh, really? Cool, I didn't know we could do that. Oh, there's a place that I'll go when I die just beneath my feet this whole time? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How long has Kami been the Guardian?
No idea. Well, we don't even know that there's like an application process, because at the beginning of this arc...
That's right, yeah.
Kami goes to Piccolo and he's like, hey, you want to guard the Earth? And Piccolo's like, nah.
I guess that's all it is. It's not an application. It's just he asks.
You don't know what you're getting into. You're just responsible for it.
And I guess when you say yes, there's no orientation. That's just it. So there's no
magical, whatever. You just stand up there and do your thing.
Somewhere in the book of Kami, there should be, in between the hyperbolic time chamber and the secret room of dream bodies and whatever the fuck, there should be a note that's like, 7 wins the world. It's down there. And when you die, that's where you exist for all of eternity.
There should be a chapter on that. Yeah,
there should be at least a footnote, just something. So anyway, they fight more. The kids now.
Mr. Popo's like, I'll drive, and he unleashes his magic carpet. Kami and Popo jump on and fly away as Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin try to fight to make way for their escape. I don't understand why Kami and Mr. Popo didn't go down the hole where they were like, that's where the 7 winds are, but they instead go up and try to fly through a wall, and then go to another place in Kami Tower. Like, I don't understand why they go up instead of down.
They're just having fun making shit up as they're going along.
I guess that's true.
They're just enjoying it. So we cut to more Vegeta hijinks.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it's Vegeta. There he goes, killing again.
He goes killing again. He sure does love killing Frieza Force goons. That's what he's doing. On
He
another
does.
asteroid.
I actually legitimately like this part of the filler arc because it's cleaning up after the mess that was left behind after Frieza was defeated.
That's what I wrote.
What are you going to do about all of his army? Well, Vegeta's going to kill them all.
Whether it's intentional or not, Vegeta's doing a massive service for the entirety of the known universe.
100%.
Vegeta does this technique that I have to make mention of. Where he powers up. He's surrounded in Frieza Force members, just surrounded. He charges up and fires lightning through the ground. Like he doesn't move, but it just emanates out of him. Lightning surges from around where he's standing and electrocutes all of the goons. Afterwards, he flies up into space and says into the black void of space, "There's no one alive that can take me." So this is all Vegeta's doing. He's just hanging out in space, hyping himself into infinity.
It's great.
It's awesome.
We cut back to Kami Tower. I have to mention now, I don't know why I didn't mention it before, but Krillin's outfit in this entire saga is amazing.
It's his suit that he was so worried about getting messed up.
Exactly. He started out in this like white 3-piece suit, and it's beautiful with his fedora. And over the course of the saga, it gets deteriorated down till he's only wearing pants. I love it. It's really good. Gohan gets attacked by hair.
I wrote that down too. Yeah. The one member, we learned that actually in the next episode, what their gang is called, which
it's so good. It's the best. Don't reveal it yet. It's so good.
So they're fighting the hair member, the one with the white Goku-ish hair. Super
and he can attack with his hair.
He can attack with his hair.
He's strangling Gohan with his hair, and Gohan's powerless to stop it.
Yeah, I thought Saiyan hair was strong. But I guess
nothing compared to this guy.
Piccolo shoots special beam cannons really fast now, though.
He does. He doesn't even have to charge or say anything.
He just blasts. It's great.
He's also Stretchy Piccolo is also back.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he stretches his arm to follow around one of the henchmen or Garlic himself. I honestly can't remember at this point. He definitely follows somebody around with his stretchy arms.
That happens.
That's pretty good.
Krillin, I called this one, uses a Destructo Disc, which does not do anything.
It doesn't work. He uses it against the henchman, and the henchman like puts his hand out and grabs the disc.
He just grabs it,
which doesn't make any sense because like Krillin used it against Frieza, and his tail got chopped in half.
No,
is his skin more powerful than Frieza's?
It makes sense.
It does?
Yeah, because if somebody swings a sword at you, you just catch the sword with your hands.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I do that all the time. Thing.
Yeah, it's like when I'm shaving and I'm just about to go a little too hard around my Adam's apple region. I just take my other hand and I just grab it. And it stops.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't do any damage at all.
Every single time. So I'm glad we worked through that little issue.
It's at this point in the episode, in the arc, that I'm realizing that all this is a checklist of famous Dragon Ball Z characters and maneuvers that we have to squeeze in so that the fans are happy. So you got Stretchy Piccolo hand, Destructo Disc, Special Beam Cannon, Masenko,
People jumping
everything
in front of Gohan.
Yeah, like all the tropes are here, all the best moves are here, and they're gonna do what you like because this is fan service in a filler arc.
That was the thought behind it, and it just did not fucking come together at all because
it really didn't.
The story is what holds it together. They got it right in the beginning. Big bad guy, evil plans. They got it right in the beginning, and then they fucked it up almost immediately by explaining the whole plot and making the bad guys like questionable effectiveness. And making the good guys of questionable effectiveness. So, like, you don't ever really get a grasp of who's doing what, where are we going, what's going on, who's stronger, who's going to do this, who's going to come back, who's dead. You don't know anything. It's all just so fucking misty.
Yeah. You know what would be cool is if they had 10 episodes of a saga, and it started out with a party at Master Roshi's, and then all of a sudden, this fog appeared. And then like 3 or 4 of our main characters were not affected. The rest of the zombies, they were like, what the hell's going on? And they had to like go all over Earth fighting their, normal people that they normally try to save.
That's right.
And they're trying not to kill him at all. And then they eventually, over the course of many, many episodes, end up at Kami's tower, and they're like, okay, we found the cure. We got to distribute it at Kami's tower. All that's left is to face off against Garlic Jr. and his henchmen. We actually know what's going on. Then they have one single fight that's like paced well and counter, it like factors in everybody's current power level and their abilities. And there's just one fight, and then it's over, and then they win.
Yeah. Like, or it's revealed at the end their reason for the power is that star, and then they make plans after that.
Like, that's how you do it. In the beginning of the whole saga, you have this weird like eclipse happen. And like, oh, what the hell is that? That doesn't make any sense. And then they just kind of like forget about it.
That's right. Everybody thinks that the reason that they're going crazy is the eclipse, not the mist.
Ooh, that's really good. I like that a lot. Yeah.
And so they're on the right track, but then it turns out actually it's the mist, so they completely forget about the eclipse, where at the end it's revealed, oh, it's both. It's both.
We need to kill the thing that's causing the eclipse and stop Garlic Jr.
Yeah, and you can still throw in all the stuff, all the Destructo discs, and people
you
jumping
just pace
in front
it better.
Just
like that's God. It's honestly the biggest stopping point of this entire arc. Like, it's paced so poorly. It's so many plot explanations just get thrown at you in the moment instead of like developed. The fight started way too early, so there's a constant back and forth between bad guys winning, good guys winning, and there's no continuity between the damage that they take. They're just like, they're down on the ground, they're up again, they're fighting again, they're down, the other guy's down now he's back up, and like it's not well done.
And Dragon Ball Z does that from time to time, especially in the Frieza arc. He's down, he's up, he's down, he's up, but it doesn't happen over the course of 5 minutes. It happens over an episode, and then an episode later he's fine, and then an episode later. But in this one, it's like, oh, he's down. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's a good guy. Oh, he's a bad guy. You don't know anything about what's going on except in that exact moment when it's happening.
Finally, one of the two henchmen, the blue, I think Super Saiyan Goku alike, gets impaled because Gohan finally does something.
I was making notes about the Makio star because they're just before he gets impaled, we cut to Popo and Kami, who are flying through the level select screen of a Mario Kart game.
Jesus, yeah.
And the Makio, it cuts to the Makio star after that because they're going to the 7 winds or whatever. So they're traveling through weird dimensions.
It's so weird because they're in the bottom of Kami Tower. They haven't left the lookout, but they're going through like the Sonic 3 bonus stage and like flying through all this weird stuff. And apparently it's in the build. Like there's just this extra dimensional universe inside Kami's tower. It's bonkers.
I guess it makes sense because the hyperbolic time chamber is that.
Time chamber,
and the room of spirit and time, is that what they call the other one?
Yeah, but that's the thing is like, I can accept the hyperbolic time chamber. They never mentioned the room of spirits and ghosts or whatever again. But this is like on another level. This is like an entire universe
in your attic.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in the basement, rather.
It's the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, it is. That's
they
exactly.
They go through the closet, and there's an entire world out there.
Weird hair guy got impaled, but I was making notes about this level select screen. So how did that even happen?
I think Gohan just gets pissed. Everybody else is getting hit and hurt and like can't fight.
Yeah.
And Gohan finally decides to do something, and he just like rams. I think he headbutts that guy. And he sends him flying up.
That makes
and there's
sense.
Just this spike, and then he just gets impaled on it.
We keep saying that Gohan finally chooses to do something because this entire 10 episodes, Gohan needs so much encouragement to do anything.
And this isn't the last time, by the way. There's going to be another.
No, it's like that a little bit in the Namek saga, but like it makes sense then. I think it makes sense in the Saiyan saga.
He's learning to be him, right? Like he's a kid.
Makes sense in the Frieza saga.
His place, not to rely on his dad.
Especially at the end of the Frieza saga, after he gets all resolute and he's going to help his dad, and he's wearing the Saiyan armor, and he's finally being.
There's a whole episode about it.
And now we're back to here, to where Piccolo gives him a very direct go to Kami Tower, get the water, and there's like 45 seconds where Gohan's like, I don't know. I can't leave you. And that happens almost every episode where there's a section where somebody says, Gohan, you need to do this. And it's the obvious thing to do. And he fights them. So that's why we're saying he finally chooses to do something, because it really.
So that dude's dead. And they do unleash a lot of lore about the Makio star.
That's right. Yeah, they do.
I can't remember if we actually explained what the hell it is, but like essentially it's this I'm going to call it a comet because that's the only thing that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah,
that has
fine.
entered Earth's orbit.
Yeah.
and it is it's sort of the equivalent of the thing that gives Saiyans the power to transform to apes.
Oh,
Sort of
Blitz
like that.
waves?
Yeah, but it gives Garlic Jr. the ability to gain power more easily. But they keep calling it a Makio star. Like, honestly, if a new star entered the orbit of Earth, if it even got as far as Jupiter or Saturn, like, it would screw up everything. Because the sun is a star, and it dictates the orbit for all of those planets that are very, very far away.
It's not a star, because in Japanese, they call it the Makio planet or the Makio comet. They do call it like an asteroid.
The comet
or
is
something else.
the 100% logical explanation for what it is. But it's a celestial body that gives Garlic Jr. his power. I don't know why it doesn't give anybody else power, but also later on it seems to give his henchmen power. We'll get to that.
Yeah, it's just emanating this evil kind of energy, and it helps the evil people become stronger somehow. So anyway, this little arc Saga is a continuation of the Dead Zone movie. And I don't understand how they didn't see this next part coming, where Garlic Jr. powers up and gets beefy.
Yeah, he transforms.
Which is exactly what he did before.
He did it in Dead Zone.
And all of them were there for that.
Yeah. Gohan, Piccolo, and Krillin.
And they all react like this is mind-blowing shit. Like, there's no way that he just got all buff and strong.
No, he did it before.
He absolutely did it before. All of this has happened before. All of it.
And all of this will happen again.
And so please don't. No, just tell me you're lying. You don't know that. Because I can't.
Well, if it helps, I don't think Garlic Jr. is coming back.
It does. That helps a little.
So then for the last bit of the episodes, it cuts to Kami and Popo. They've descended into this extra universal space within Kami's tower. It's a desert, essentially. And it's that aforementioned place where the Guardians of Earth go to die.
Yes.
And there's some sort of spirit attacks Kami.
Yeah.
He's down on the ground and says, who are you? What are you doing here? And then the episode ends. Episode 114. The Japanese title is A Battle of Extreme Measures. Kami-sama breaks the covenant. And the American title is Extreme Measures.
My episode title is The Spice Boys versus the Salty Squad. That's what they're called.
I love it. It's the best name for a group of henchmen.
Garlic Jr.'s henchmen are called the Spice Boys.
The Spice Boys.
Here are my notes. Wait. They're called the Spice Boys? I can't, like, the Spice Girls?
Yeah, because it's the 90s. Get it? One thing I will say about this episode, it opens with a look at the destroyed Kami's tower, and it looks awesome.
Oh, yes!
John was talking last episode about how the art in this arc is really impressive, and this is like really a defining moment for that statement. Like it's awesome looking at this place that we've viewed as a sanctuary for so long, just in ruins, still somehow standing in the sky.
And the Spice Boys start absorbing the power of
for the first time. For the first time, they call themselves the Spice Boys.
For the first time,
just fantastic.
You lead with Spice Boys, right?
I know. Yeah, you have to. So they can also use the power of the Makio Star. It's not just Garlic Jr. that can transform with this thing. It is the Spice Boys as well. There's 2 left, remember? Even though one got impaled last episode, whatever. They transform. They get beefier. Not that much beefier, but a little beefier. Garlic Jr. says he's big and beefy now. Peekaboo, come to Big Daddy Garlic.
I wrote that down too.
One of the best quotes of the saga.
Good God.
Everybody fights some more.
Yes. And then we cut to Mr. Popo and Kami.
Yeah.
Mr. Popo talks to this void form. We don't know what it is. Turns out it's the previous Guardian of Earth.
Yeah.
So the previous Guardian just starts doing some weird kind of gravity shit to Kami. And it's holding him down. And it's stopping him. He can't move because Kami's not supposed to be here. He can't come here until he's dead.
Right.
Breaking the pact. And so this previous Guardian of Earth decides that he's going to stop this current Guardian of Earth from saving Earth because...
Yeah. I don't understand any of this.
I don't either.
The ghosts that are here in this realm are actively trying to stop Kami.
Yeah, because there's multiple ones.
Yeah, there's multiple ones. And they all look the same. And they all sound super evil, and they all act evil, but they are the previous Guardians of Earth.
Of Earth. And
Like they are the previous commies.
Yeah. Then Mr. Popo recognizes them and is like, "Oh yes, it's been so long.
They
missed
never
you."
say the names.
No,
but he does refer to him as if he's a person.
it wouldn't have been hard to come up with a name. Open the fucking fridge, point at something.
Right? I thought that it was going to be like a big reveal in the end about who this was, but they never mention again. But they constantly call him he.
Yeah.
And like, oh, he's here. Oh, I've known him. As soon as he makes up his mind, like we don't know this person.
No, seriously. And so anyway, Popo then gets wrecked as fuck by lightning.
Yes, he
from
does.
the other Guardian. What is the relationship of a Guardian to Mr. Popo?
He's supposedly the groundskeeper of Kami Tower.
Okay.
But he knows a lot of shit.
So the groundskeeper never dies. It like exists forever.
Apparently.
But the commies come and go.
Yeah.
So after he's hit by lightning, Kami says one of my favorite lines. There are two incredible Kami lines. This is kind of like, that's an all right one. And it's, "You're smoking, Mr. Popo." Mr. Popo is head to toe charred.
Yeah,
like,
Mr. Popo takes a
burnt.
bullet for Kami, quite literally.
And Kami's just whole response is, "Oh, you're smoking." Like, Mr. Popo's dead now. Almost.
Well, Mr.
He
Popo
should
is
be.
even better because he's like, I'm fine.
He just says, "I'm fine." He looks like death. And he's like, it's fine.
And their big plan is to run like crazy.
Oh my God.
That's
They
what it comes down to.
cartoon run.
Yeah,
and I am
it's Looney Tunes.
so glad they just decided to go full cartoon run for this because the show wants to. Sometimes you see like Garlic Jr. and Piccolo are trading blows and they just all you have to do is imagine a cloud of dust kind of around them and then occasionally fists and like limbs poking out of that cloud. And that's what they wanted to do. Like they just need to go full Looney Tunes sometimes. And they did it here and it's great. And it works out very well because Kami's kind of he's a serious, old, respectful man, which makes it way funnier when he's goofily running for his life. Which, by the way, we never get word on this other Guardian, ever.
You could have done so much lore here. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me at all.
No. What does work is the transition from them to the other gang on the tower, which is Mr. Popo opening his mouth, screaming as he's running, and then it zooms into his mouth and zooms out of Krillin's mouth, screaming as he's getting hit by somebody else.
There's the editing in these next couple episodes is on point. There's a lot of really cool transitions between the two stories. I love it.
Here's what I think happened. Because these episodes played once a week in Japan. So they had a month where the previous 5 episodes played. And then one day before they finished some of these episodes, Toriyama walks in with a shotgun. And they're like, "Toriyama, we weren't expecting you here." And he pumps it and just looks at them. And it started getting better. I don't know why, but I guess that's what happened.
The end of this arc is by far better than the beginning of this arc.
It really is. It's I really think that the shareholders showed up and like took some of the managers into a room and were like, "What are you doing? Don't make Gohan a little pissy baby. Gohan was going to be the main character of the show. You make them badass. What are you doing?" But anyway, the cartoon run, the transition, Krillin gets hit so hard that he belly flops on the concrete.
Yeah,
which
it's
felt
brutal.
Hard. I always make mention of hits that feel good or hard or earned. This was a earned hit. So Krillin gets knocked off the tower when Gohan has to fight the Spice Boys. Of course, Gohan reaches out to try and save him, but then he gets hit by the Spice Boys. So Krillin just starts falling.
Yeah, he gets yeeted off the tower. He just starts falling.
Yes. The best shot that I maybe have seen in Dragon Ball Z yet is Gohan gets pissed and throws 2 blasts out to get the 2 Spice Boys off him to save Krillin. That 13 frames, holy shit. Like, you'll have to go back and watch it again. They are so well animated. I had to watch it a couple of times and like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is top quality stuff. And the rest of the episodes, you can tell they cut a lot of corners. There's replays and stuff like that.
Oh, there's
We're using the same.
Yeah.
But this one, it's so good. There's so much detail. I don't know why. And it made me think we should create another fan version of Dragon Ball Z called Dragon Ball Z Compressed, where we just cut all the bullshit out and it would be like 15 total episodes for all 270 whatever episodes of the show.
Nobody's ever done that before, so.
But they didn't use voice clips from the show. They used voice clips from their own series. So it's not even really the same thing.
I see. Okay. You're saying that you would want to get sued by Funimation more.
It gets my name out there.
Yeah, you'd be in the news for sure.
Anyway, there's so much going on that I have to like sidetrack myself to not go insane.
Sure.
That's what that was. Now we're back to the fight. The kids fight. Krillin, I think, gets saved by Gohan. Now,
Krillin does get saved. He's not doing so hot, but he gets saved.
Stopped from hitting the ground at terminal velocity.
Exactly. You think that Piccolo's down. He's not down. He gets back up, and then he grows.
Okay, this is me holding off with my hand the insanity so that I can logically figure out how to speak what I'm trying to. Piccolo just beefs up just like Garlic Jr. and becomes exactly as big as Garlic Jr. does. Nowhere is that talked
He's never
about.
did that before. He'll never do that again.
Exactly. Now it's just two muscly, sweaty aliens slapping their sweaty bodies against each other, which, hot. But then we have to cut back to Popo and Kami. They're getting blasted at by weird spirits. Kami runs into a wall.
A glass wall.
Popo then says, "Look out, there's a wall."
Yep.
And then Kami just yells until the wall breaks, and they keep running.
He uses his opera voice to break the glass.
Yeah.
And it's like every obstacle that they encounter on this weird run to wherever the seven winds originate is just like instantly overcome.
It's beautiful.
It's Looney Tunes is what it is.
It is, exactly, yes.
It's pure just cartoon logic the entire time.
That, to me, after all the insanity, it's refreshing that they're just getting through this.
Sure.
It's so good.
Sure. But then as they're running, after they've broken this invisible wall on their way to the Seven Winds to pour the water down and save the world, Kami's hand vanishes.
Yeah, it just starts vanishing. He gets like tired. He gets
really tired. His hand vanishes, and he says, "I'm feeling a little lightheaded and light-handed."
Excellent. Yes.
So he's weakening because the power of the ghosts is threatening to stop him in his tracks.
I love Kami.
There's a fun little smash cut from Kami to Piccolo.
Yep.
Kami's getting hurt. Obviously, they are linked because they're the same person for some reason. And Piccolo also starts vanishing his hand. His hand starts disappearing.
Kami breaks through another wall.
Yeah, he breaks through another wall. And Piccolo beats the crap out of Garlic. But then all of a sudden, Kami can't move anymore.
That's right.
Because the Sark has no pacing. Garlic Jr. says some fun lines such as, "It's the bottom of the ninth, Piccolo."
Those are the small little high points in between all this other shit that you're just slogging through.
Like, you're just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe what oh, that was fun. Oh my God, I can't believe it."
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
And then there's a fun little moment where Piccolo's trying to fight Garlic, and Garlic is just kicking Piccolo's ass. And Gohan jumps in front of a blast from Garlic to save Piccolo. Finally, there's a really fun little reverse thing. I really liked that scene. That was fun. That was a good moment. And then Piccolo somehow ends up down for the count. And finally, it is Gohan versus Garlic Jr. Krillin's down, Piccolo's down, the Goon Squad is down, the Spice Boys are down. And it's just Gohan versus Garlic Jr., which is what it should have been from the beginning, or finally here. And that's the end of the episode. Episode 115, the Japanese title is The Ultra Holy Water Worked. The world awakens from its nightmare. The American title is The World Awakens.
My title is the one where the immortal guy kills himself.
Oh, jeez. Okay, whatever. We'll get to that. The episode opens where the world is screwed. Like, it shows more of the real world, and it's also burning and on fire and destroyed. And like, it's just apocalyptic. Like, so much stuff has gone down in less than a day. That I don't know how it's possible that everybody's going to be able to rebuild from this.
I didn't really expect in the beginning of this to like Kami as much as I do now.
You said that before we recorded it, and I'm really curious. Is this the episode where it happens?
Yes. At this point, Kami is being electrocuted by several old guardians of Earth.
Yeah. And they all look the same.
They all look exactly the same. These weird, horrifying, dark phantoms with red eyes.
4 of them, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so that's what happens to a guardian of Earth, like the goodest guy there is. Then
that's what you can look forward to.
Yeah. So he's being electrocuted by all these other guardians. He laughs in their face while he's being electrocuted and challenges that they were ever guardians of Earth.
Oh, it's so good. Like, honestly, the one thought in my mind has been, how can these people be guardians of Earth when they're doing this to a guardian of Earth? Like, he's trying to protect the Earth. What are you guys doing? And he says, look at what has become of you. Like, he goes into this little monologue about how they're just being bullies and not living up to what they were doing during their life.
So good.
It's very good.
Then we cut to finally, it's the 1v1 of the century. Gohan versus Garlic Jr.
It's great.
And you hear the Gohan Goes Hard song kick on.
It's a good song. It's a really good piece of this. Yeah, I love it.
And you know what's about to happen next, because they only ever play that song when Gohan actually does something cool.
Oh, God. He jumps up and flies right through Garlic Jr.'s stomach. Like, just like Goku did to Piccolo. Something happened in Dragon Ball that was very similar to this, too. The thing is, though, so he punches through Garlic Jr. There's giant holes in his stomach. He turns around. Piccolo's like, hey, blast him. Finish this. Gohan's like, okay. He blasts him. And there's a huge cloud of smoke. And you know what smoke means.
You know what that
Dragon
means.
Ball Z.
Everybody knows what that means.
The smoke clears. Garlic Jr. is fine. The only reason this scene works for me is because 20 seconds later, I'm reminded, finally, for the first time in this 10-episode arc on episode 9, that Garlic Jr. successfully used the Dragon Balls to wish for immortality. He's the only villain in the history of the show that's been able to do it. So he's been immortal this whole time.
And I totally fucking forgot.
I totally forgot. But in Dead Zone, he successfully wishes to be immortal.
Yep.
And they kept that continuity without recapping it somehow in these last few episodes.
And it was an actually good reveal for me.
I liked it a lot. I was like, okay, whatever. He's got a hole in his stomach. How is he still alive? And then like, oh yeah,
that's right.
His wish.
It actually makes sense. It's like reality is coming back. This is after Toriyama showed up with his Mosin
with
or whatever
his shotgun. Yeah, exactly. It starts to like refocus. I'm like, oh man, that's actually really good. The only crappy part is that at this point in the saga, I wish that they would have remembered that earlier, because the concept, and I think I've talked about this before, the concept of a Dragon Ball Z fight where you can't physically fight the enemy because it does no good is interesting. Because you have to do something that you haven't been accustomed to doing and find another way to defeat the villain, which in Garlic Jr.'s case is a very easy way, which is, something like reopen the Dead Zone. Like figure out an alternate way to defeat the enemy. It's very cool. It's like a new thing. You're not redoing the same stuff. Goku's gone, so you can't be like, oh man, we need a better fighter. It's just cool. In the canon of the show, they all know that he's immortal. Like, it's not a surprise. Piccolo just says like, oh yeah, he's immortal. So why have they been fighting him this entire time when they know it's fruitless? What do they want to accomplish?
If the plan was to keep them distracted for long enough that Kami can go through and do the water thing,
I guess that's fair.
But they don't say that.
And they don't say it.
So nobody, if that's the implied reason that they're fighting him this hard and continuing to fight, then they should at least imply the reason.
Yeah,
like they don't.
Like, oh man, wouldn't an immortal enemy make a really big threat at the beginning of an arc? Or like when they finally find Garlic Jr.? They're like, yeah, we beat Frieza, but this guy is literally immortal because he wished to be.
All we do is kill our problems until they're gone. We cannot kill this problem. How do we make him gone?
Yeah, that's really cool. Explore that.
So then that whole thing is completely fucking thrown away in like the next couple minutes when Garlic Jr. opens up the Dead Zone again.
Which doesn't have any explanation at all.
He just does.
He just does it. He just does that power. And I'm like racking my brain trying to remember how he did it the first time, because it couldn't have been that easy.
No, it could not. Wait, okay, last time, didn't it just open?
Maybe. I don't know. Wasn't there like a mirror or something? Like
they're fighting on the castle, and I believe he does raise his arms and just Dead Zone, and it just appears.
If that's the case, fine, whatever.
But
continuity
why,
checks out, but it doesn't make any sense.
No. Okay, so let's say you're an immortal being and you cannot be killed by any physical means. The only way that they can stop you is to trap you somehow.
Why would you open up the place where you could get trapped in?
Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? Like, Garlic Jr. so far has not proven himself to be incompetent. He took over the tower. His cronies wiped the whole world of their memories, or turned them all evil, rather. They're doing stuff, and they're doing it successfully.
Like, more so than any villain in Dragon Ball Z history, maybe.
It just doesn't... Oh, I'm a superhero who's immune to fire damage. Let's go fight in this ice volcano. Fuck you. That's exactly what he does. And so it's so infuriating that my notes are just what for probably 6 or 7 lines with varying degrees of capitalization.
We'll cruise through. There's a couple fun little bullet points. Garlic Jr. insults Krillin, who is back up and fighting, for being bald while also being bald, which I thought was fun. He does that a couple times. There's a scene where they yell at each other. Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah, and then it cuts to commercial, which is just perfect.
So good. Krillin gets a really good hit on Garlic Jr. Both Krillin and Piccolo are face down, and they're kind of talking to each other. And this is the moment where, before I said I was kind of pissed that Krillin never got a second wind. Krillin gets one in this moment. I'm like, yes. And it feels good because it actually accomplishes damage.
He's like, I'm gonna keep Garlic Jr. occupied.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna fall on the sword. I'm gonna be the guy, but I'm gonna do it.
As long as we can get Kami to do the water. So that he explains the reason why they're fighting.
Explains an episode like right before this arc ends. He finally explains the reason that we wanted. Yeah, exactly.
After the stuff matters. Yes. So anyway, so we get it just in the most awkward order possible.
Yeah.
And he from laying down on his stomach does backflips, which I don't know if you've ever jumped on a trampoline or been in an acrobatics class. And I get it. Okay. You can't apply reality. These guys are flying and shit. But
right.
To do a backflip from a belly position,
it's a lot.
It's ridiculous.
But it's awesome to see him like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up. I'm going to fight and I'm going to buy time. And actually faces off against Garlic.
Ooh, kicks him in the face, knocks his ass down. And
it's awesome. He does a Kamehameha, which is always fun to see Krillin do because it's kind of Goku's signature move, even though they were in the same class. Whatever. Yeah. And the fun part is he does it, and Garlic Jr. is like, your slow moving energy attack will have no effect on me. He gets ready to block it, and then Krillin does finally, I think for the first time in the show, maybe the signature move that he's kind of famous for in the video games, which is he does a Kamehameha, but then he turns it up. Like he forces it upward and then back down right on top of the opponent. And it totally catches Garlic Jr. off guard. Yeah. And it was awesome.
Yes, it's the perfect polar opposite of how badly that Destructo disc did not work.
Yes, exactly. There's a cloud of smoke. Obviously, Garlic Jr. is fine because that's how Dragon Ball Z works. Piccolo gets himself up off the ground in time to save Krillin.
And then we have to cut back to the Marin show. So they're sleeping on the tower now. And I guess it's early morning.
Sort of early morning.
So Marin's sleeping on a blow-up mattress. Yajirobe's just sleeping on the ground next to her, which is weird because, okay, Yajirobe lives there, right? So he's got a bed and stuff, I guess. Anyway, maybe that's what it is he usually sleeps on the blow-up mattress. And she's, okay, you can have my mattress now. So he's laying there next to the mattress and she turns over and her foot goes in his mouth. And then she wakes up and is like, you pervert. And it's like, what? Why? And she says, I guess you're not used to having somebody else's foot in your mouth, huh?
Which is, I guess is fine. Whatever.
I understand what you mean by that, but is that something that you really get used to? Anyway, so Gohan's back.
Oh, sorry. There's one thing that I want to say about this Marin scene that actually has some sort of merit in this arc. Marin goes like, oh, cool, we're up just in time to see the sunrise. And Korin says, wait a second, the sun should have been up hours ago, which sort of is the only attempt that the show makes to point to the celestial body, the Makio star that has fallen into the solar system, is having an effect on the workings of Earth. But it's never mentioned again, and it doesn't really have any relevance. It's just weird that they put that in there because you should have done that a long time ago.
It really does feel like at the very end of this whole thing, Shotgun Toriyama.
Yeah,
and that's how
just busted in. So Gohan's fine again, back up in Kami Tower, and there's a really fun part where the three boys are fighting again, and Krillin and Piccolo do this fun little. They're each getting their necks choked, squeezed by Garlic. Yep. And there's this moment where Garlic's distracted for an instant, and Krillin and Piccolo pull off the synchronized kick to his face.
Yeah,
it's really good. I like it. But also I can't help but ask, he's immortal. What are they hoping to accomplish? They pin him down and make it so Garlic Jr. can't move. And, in a similar move to Raditz being blasted by Piccolo's special beam cannon, they say, Gohan, blast him. And Gohan can't. He just can't do it because he can't blast his friends. He can't risk damaging them.
And then Piccolo gets in front of him to distract him. blast him, Gohan. But I can't. And then Krillin says, yes, you can. You have to blast him. And he goes, but I can't. The reason that Gohan can't is because he's created a little protective bubble that is sheltering Piccolo and Krillin. Piccolo has now left
from the dead zone because everything's getting sucked up into the dead zone.
Yeah, right. So, which is really impressive. A lot of good shots of the tower getting sucked into the.
Oh yeah,
the zone.
I actually did like watching
really
the debris get sucked in.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
Excellent background work. Whoever you are, you're hired. Krillin then leaves the bubble because he's like, okay, Gohan's gonna be a little bitch if I'm in the bubble, so I'm gonna go die so that Gohan wakes up.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go fight. Like it's fine. I'm gonna go fight Garlic Jr. and don't worry about me.
Mm-hmm.
Just frickin' blast the Makio star, and he just can't.
And I get it that he's a kid. I understand that part. But why have any character development at all if you're just going to do the same thing over and over? So
anyway,
we cut back to the important stuff, which is Kami, who is getting electrocuted and just dying. And he says to Popo, here, if these guys want me, they can have me. You have to pour the sacred water. And he gives him the sacred water. And what a king among Guardians of Earth.
It's like he cares,
legend.
You know,
Yes.
like he's like a good guy.
Mr. Popo, with tears in his eyes, runs to pour the sacred water. Kami is getting hit with these beams at the exact same moment that Gohan finally decides to shoot his blast. The only thing that's holding Garlic there is Piccolo. Because Kami is hit with the beams at the same time, Garlic throws Piccolo and ducks under Gohan's blast that he took just so long to shoot.
Piccolo gets weakened because Kami just got hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's able to dodge the blast, and it amounts to nothing.
I have another thing for you.
Yeah.
I realize this will never, ever be explained. If someone wanted to theorize how covering up the hole, distributing the 7 winds across the planet with a jar would affect the planet.
Well, like, you gotta, okay. So Mr. Popo takes the thing from Kami and runs while Kami's being tortured, dips it into the little spout at the bottom of Kami Tower. It actually is like, it shows a shot of this little spout near the ladder that leads up to Kami Tower at the very bottom.
I guess that's where wind comes from.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it like, if it's the genesis point for all wind currents in the world, then covering it up would lead to an absence of wind for a period of time until it was uncovered again. I don't know that that's the case because he's able to pour the water in.
And then the water is then somehow distributed by the wind.
Yeah, by the wind currents.
But the way that he plugs up the hole, he corks it with the water.
Right. Yeah, he totally does.
So
the water jar.
Wind is no longer flowing, and we're applying actual logic Dragon Ball Z.
But then
again.
how does the wind even generate within the graveyard realm of previous Guardians? I don't know.
Does it just always exist? Is it the other Guardians? Is it them just like walking around really fast?
And even if it isn't, like if it's a flow point where all the 7 currents meet, then why does it exist there?
Yeah,
and what
why is it 7
does
winds?
It serve?
Is it because 7 Dragon Balls? Is it because 7 seas?
7 just is a good.
It's a good number. I would know, but still, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't
doesn't.
North, south, east, west, northwest, northeast, southwest? Question mark? Like it doesn't actually add up. Really. So anyway, the sacred water goes around the whole planet and foils Garlic Jr.'s scheme. They did the thing.
Episode 116. Gohan's brief chance for victory. Blast the Makio world is the Japanese title. The American title is Brief Chance for Victory.
My title for this episode is Fully Baked.
Nice. It's the best quote in the entire saga. This episode starts very weirdly. I don't know if you noticed this, but like it's colored weird. Like all of the whites that everybody's wearing, like Krillin's outfit, for instance, is like orange.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I noticed this or why it stood out so much, but like it really did.
I believe it's because the water has removed the mist, but the star is still really close. And so
it's
all
got
their
this weird
colors
light.
are like weirdly bleached out. And I really appreciated it because we're so used to seeing our gang in the colors, the Piccolos and the dull purple and the whatever.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see kind of a little palette swap there. Just up the contrast a little bit.
Okay.
I appreciated it.
Fair enough.
And so the fucking sky in the weird dimension where Kami is just starts raining rocks because the dead zone's been open.
Okay, so the dimension where Kami and Popo are is inside Kami's lookout, right? Kami's lookout is currently being pulled into the dead zone and collapsing as the gravity and whatever and the fighting and all that stuff is making it destroy itself. So the rubble from Kami's tower is falling into this weird extra dimensional space, and it creates a window to where Kami is able to get free of the torture that he is undergoing.
What's the equivalent occupation of being a guardian of Earth? Like, to where you're the head of something, and then as soon as you leave, you go 180 and be the complete opposite.
It's honestly the worst part of the arc for me, because it totally like makes Kami's character sort of this weird Greek tragedy character, where no matter how much good they do, they're doomed to become what is essentially evil after they die. So like I can't even comprehend what they were trying to do at this point.
Maybe it was like an attempt, a half attempt at like I'm not going to say Greek tragedy, because I don't think the people that wrote this arc have read anything in their entire lives. So maybe it was just a cool idea that they had. Maybe when the Guardians die, they just enter into the center. There's like a burial site where they all live.
And that's not terrible. That's not terrible. There's a lot of like different afterlives in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, but why do they all become dicks? I don't know. Among everything else, it really amplifies how nonsensical all of this is. Like last episode we did, I couldn't function because of this very reason, because there's so much of this that you have to say and then just move on. And when you're halfway in it, you're just so buried in the bullshit. You're like, I just don't. Anyway, my next note is Gohan going to blow up a fucking star?
Yeah, so a lot of stuff happens. There's, first of all, like compliments to this arc for a lot of cool little scene symmetry between the cuts between the A and B plots. There's a lot of times where they'll say a word like help, or they'll scream, or like Kami gets hurt, and then it'll cut to Piccolo getting hurt or vanishing. Like there's a lot of cool little symmetry as they bounce back and forth between the scenes.
What it reminded me of? It reminded me of Archer. Archer does that a lot. In the
they totally do. Like, well, they'll ask a question in one scene and then have an answer to the next scene.
Yes, that's
like this is a totally different location with totally different characters. Yeah, it's good. It's really good, and I appreciated the editing in this arc. Like it was one of the high points for sure. And they had way too much fun writing the dialogue for Garlic Jr. because he's like. I can't remember the exact quote, but he's like beating the crap out of everybody, and he's like, "You're the pimple on whatever, and I'm gonna pop you."
I wrote it. I don't want to say it because it's gross. I'm gonna squeeze you and pop you, so you'll go oozing into the dead zone like the pus that you are.
Yeah, there you go. It's like way too much fun. He makes a lot of pop culture references. He is fun to listen to.
Maybe it's because he's only in 10 episodes or 9 or whatever. I like him as a villain more than I like Frieza as a villain.
I mean, he's a decent villain because he works. Like he does the stuff that he says that he's going to do, and he succeeds at it. The methods by which he succeeds it's a little outlandish for the show.
Yeah,
which is saying something. But I think it could have been written better. But I like the concept for sure. For instance, not once during this saga do they go, "Man, Goku, help us," you know what I mean? Like obviously it's because they couldn't, because Goku's return plays a part in a future arc, but it was nice. It was nice to just leave it to those characters and kind of break the formula of traditional Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Like it could have been great.
All of the framework is set up for it to be great. It really, really is present. Like the background art is great. Some excellent frames of animation going on. It's just that, just the structure, just the story. It's upsetting. I was hoping this was going to be like a cool little micro arc that I've never seen, that I would come away feeling like, yeah, that's worth watching.
No, it's really bad.
So Piccolo is talking about how we're going to beat him. We're going to blow up the fucking star. And so he asks,
Makio star, the thing that gives Garlic Jr. all his power, we just blow it up. Easy as pie. And then he'll be powerless.
And Krillin turns to Piccolo and says, I don't know, Piccolo. That plan seems half-baked to me. And Piccolo, with full confidence, says, no, it's fully baked. And that's the end of that conversation.
It's really good.
So we get to see a couple clips of all the people that have been consumed by this dark mist. Now the water is running over them.
Flowing free.
Yeah, and it's not even water. It's like another mist again.
It's another mist again,
It's a good guy mist. And so there's cute little throwaway line that for sure was just a Funimation dub fun thing. There's a ton of people and they're all like hanging out around a barn. They're all just hanging out like in a barn, like hitting the ground with sledgehammers. Like they're just causing wanton destruction for no reason. And the mist comes by and they all are becoming normal again. You hear out of like just the left speaker, some guy go, "Why are you people in my yard?"
It's one of my favorite lines in the saga. Like stuff every single time they cut away from the heroes and do something just earth-based. It's amazing.
Yes. So finally, the old Guardians of Earth stop being dicks for like 1 second, and then they all convene, and then they start to heal Kami. And Popo says, "Oh, it looks like the old Guardians of Earth have finally accepted that you're doing the right thing, and they've forgiven you for your transgressions." And Kami, this is my favorite line,
It's so good.
stands up and he says, "I've forgiven them. Get a life, you stubborn old fools." And he's just so angry. He's been being electrocuted for like 35 minutes straight.
Well, and he gets it too. Like throughout this whole arc, he's the only one that's been like, "Wait, you guys were Guardians of Earth. Why aren't you nice?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?"
It makes me imagine what kind of great adventures a Dr. Briefs and Kami show would have.
Oh, hell yeah.
They never meet. I don't think they meet one time
That's
in the show.
stupid. That's a nice little balance between magic and science.
Yes.
They're
and
both old dudes that have
old
seen a
dudes with
lot of
respect.
the world.
It's beautiful.
Oh, that could be really fun.
That would be awesome. Dr. Briefs would offer to take Kami home to his home planet.
Yeah, they're both nice guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of conflict there. They're just hanging out, chilling.
That would
I
be
would
a
love
great
that.
combination of things.
Oh, there's the dream episode right there.
Yeah. So woo, Kami's back. He comes back from the realm.
Yeah, they
of
somehow like
wherever.
rise out of the ceiling or whatever the hell. They're
Whatever.
back in Kami
they're back.
Tower. It's all
So
destroyed, but whatever.
Garlic spends some time sucking the watchtower in some more, sucking the Kami's tower into the dark void, the dead
He
zone.
does.
And Piccolo goes to confront him, and he screams, "How about a belly blast, huh?" Yeah! And he shoots just circles of energy out of his stomach. I had the subtitles on for this.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't say anything in Japanese.
What do you mean he doesn't say anything?
He doesn't say, "How about a belly blast?" Yeah. He just
does it.
He just does it, which I like.
Somehow
that better.
that's worse
What?
for
Really?
me. Because it doesn't make any sense either way. But at the very least, in the American version, he's saying an ability
and he's
name that
being
he's using.
consistent with how his character has been. I can see your point there.
But also using the belly as the final orifice, as we've seen eye beams and mouth beams and stuff to this point.
That's true. This is belly button beam.
It's belly button beam, and it made me roll my eyes. It was so bad.
I forgot we joked about that, but this actually happens. So
It's a joke that we would make, but it actually happens in this
we
show.
did
and it's
make
nuts.
this joke. It
Yeah.
really happened. Like
It's
we were talking
crazy.
about orifices that beams have not come out of. Last place, ears. It's the last place now.
Like we need ear beams, and then we'll be done.
How about a belly blast? Krillin balls up and dives in, which
shirtless as ever.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that Gohan can do the right thing. This is where he gets out of the shield that Gohan has created to prevent them from falling into the dead zone.
Mm-hmm. Finally, uses his shield thing as like a catalyst for an explosion and fires it at the fucking star. And I wrote down that this may be my favorite set of Krillin episodes. Because again, I'm not
it's so good.
fan of Krillin, but he's consistent. He makes the right decisions. He takes it for the team when he needs to. He steps up to the plate. He's just consistently a good fucking character in these episodes.
As he is always, John.
As not always. So giant ball from Gohan is it going to the fucking star, and Garlic screams, "What? It cannot be!" As if the gang hasn't literally been screaming their tactics and plans out loud.
They told him so, and I can't even remember like what allowed him to power up the first time, like in the movie. But like it wasn't the Makio star.
No, he just did.
So,
like he
so
became,
I'm not really sure why he needs it.
I don't know, especially because he's immortal too. So like
he is
just all right. So
whatever.
He can't. And then Garlic shrinks because now all the power of the Makio
all
star
the power's
is
gone. He untransforms, gets all shriveled, and
it's weird. He's not even untransformed. He just becomes a shriveled version of the Beefcake him.
Yeah, he's a little garlic raisin, and then he flies into the dead zone, and that's it. I don't know why it closes, but the dead zone closes.
It just closes.
And it's fine.
Just because it just
Doesn't make any
can't-
sense.
It can't
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Vegeta. Just
The
flying around the spaceship again.
little piece of continuity that I like here is he's flying the Capsule 3 ship, which
Yeah,
is the
that's
ship
right.
that Chi-Chi and Co. tried to blast off of.
You know what's funny?
What?
Do you remember at the end of the Namek, the Frieza saga, rather, Vegeta hops into the ship, steals it, and flies away. And then the next episode, he's just there again.
Oh.
So
You think this is like in between all that?
I don't know if this is in between all that or if this never actually happened. Like we're seeing a weird alternate timeline where this is what Vegeta went to do.
I really wouldn't put it past the show. Like, honestly, that makes more sense than a lot of stuff we've seen.
But still, I don't know why we cut to Vegeta because he literally says, "I will find you, Kakarot. I know you're in space somewhere," and that's all. Like,
And then next episode he's on Earth again.
it's just the reminder that he exists. It's just the Goku's on Snake Way, the Goku's on the way to Namek. That's all it is.
Yeah, they couldn't have Vegeta be here on Earth because he just win.
Would have annihilated all the problems.
Yeah. So, Earth is pretty much destroyed because of the reckless destruction of all the zombie people. And I don't know how they're going to rebuild in time to go to the Android Saga proper. But Bulma and the rest aren't on Roshi's Island for some unknown reason. We find them in the middle of a city.
Yeah, just in the mess of the Armageddon.
Yeah, just in the middle of whatever. And my favorite cut is to Roshi, who has somehow also separated himself from the group. He's in a cruise ship on top of a pile of chairs wearing a cape. And somehow in his like zombified revelry has become the master and commander of all of these cruise ship patrons. And he says something like, "Oh man, maybe I'm not your king after all."
Oh, I still had the subtitles on. The only thing Roshi says in the Japanese version is, "Oh, I really hope I didn't do anything inappropriate."
That's better.
It's
That
so
is
much better.
That's so much better.
Like,
Holy crap, that's
it's so
hilarious.
Upsetting when you watch it with the subtitles because you're like, just do that. Just do that.
And I really wanted to see how the gang ended up off of Roshi's Island onto their various places.
There's so many
That seems
little
like an
things.
interesting story to me.
So anyway, Gohan has like "Oh, you're such an incredible friend, Piccolo," and they hug, and it's supposed to be touching, but it's like it just feels kind of weird.
It's a little weird, but Krillin and Gohan also share a little hug, and that felt like a good
That one
moment
felt
to me.
better.
That was genuine.
They were together the whole time. and,
Yeah. Popo complains about how his plants got sucked into the dead zone, which is really funny.
Oh, you get to see that happen too. It's funny.
Yeah, you
Earlier in
do.
the episode, you just watch the plants go in one of the cuts, and it's weird that they mentioned that one. I don't even think they intended to. It's just they throwaway line. Anyway, then we get a voiceover from the narrator.
Oh, it's so weird how everybody's fine. Kami does say the line, "Well, I'll be a green, pointy-eared monkey's uncle," and I can't remember why, but I did write that down. And Piccolo does say something like, we might have needed Goku, but Gohan, Goku was here all along. He was inside of you.
Something like that.
And then then the narrator takes over and like kind of does the epilogue for everybody. The only thing I wrote in was Krillin and Baron traded in for a convertible.
Oh yeah,
Which is apparently what
just
they
the thing
did.
you do, I guess.
You'd think that was the end of the saga, my friends, but no. We have one more episode. Episode 117. You're My Guy, Kuririn. A 101st Proposal. And that's the Japanese title. The American title is Krillin's Proposal. This is I don't know why they call it 101st Proposal. I think it's the 101st episode, but also my brain is like, Gohan's Return was the 100th episode.
Yeah.
So why is this called the 101st Proposal? That doesn't make any sense.
Hang on. Maybe 100 other dudes have proposed. I don't have a title for this episode because it was the last in the set. So my title is going to be the first quote of the entire episode, which is the narrator saying, "The Earth is back to normal." Well, as normal as it gets here anyway.
Marin sucks. Let's open this episode just
You know
by
what?
saying
You just
that.
do this one because this is a Marin and Krillin episode, and
It's
I'd rather
so-
be.
Dude, I love it. This episode's great. All right, so and I'll get to why it's great later, but I will describe the episode to you first for the benefit of our audience. Marin sucks. It opens up with Marin and Krillin shopping And Krillin is carrying all the bags, and Marin's being like the stereotypical that you don't really see anymore, sort of like shopping girl that has no other
That's right.
qualities, other than wanting expensive stuff. And Krillin seems worried that Marin might run off with some other guy who has more hair. He specifically mentions that.
That is a fair thing to worry about.
Okay, I mean, I don't know, but like
I do. It's fair.
With Walter White and and I'll say, Krillin himself, it seems like bald dudes are, pretty.
Okay, you're looking at the Vin Diesels of bald men here.
There you go. Yeah,
you can't do that. You got to look at the other ugly ass like people who have weird fucking bean-shaped heads and they can't get hair anymore.
I am a little worried that I am that person, but I just haven't lost my hair yet.
Have you ever shaved your head all the way?
No, never.
So you don't know what the shape of your head is.
I mean, I felt it and it feels bumpy. So
well, everybody's head is kind of like that because skulls are stupid the way they grow.
But I'm also a little scared that, like, if I shave it, it won't grow back. That whole thing.
I have the opposite problem of that. I wanted to shave it so it doesn't come back, and it won't stop coming back. It's dumb. So I feel you from the other side of the fence.
All right. It's okay. We're brothers on opposite sides of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Berlin Wall is made of hair. So meanwhile, back in the good graces of our favorite Dragon Ball Z characters, Master Roshi's calling up all of his friends to come to his island for an emergency, he says. Bulma answers the phone. Yeah, me here, which is great. Yamcha's back playing baseball, which feels really good, actually, and he gets called away to answer the phone. The Ox King is back, which is just fantastic. You see a shot of Krillin's house, presumably, as Master Roshi fruitlessly calls their place. Krillin and Marin's answering machine. Yeah, Marin's living there. They have an answering machine together. So I'm guessing that this is like months after the whole Garlic Jr. saga.
Yeah.
Krillin is struggling with the idea that Marin might run off with another man.
Yes.
And he says, I wish Goku was here. He'd know what to do. I'm not convinced that he would.
No.
Goku's never been that kind of guy, that kind of friend, There
are moments in the show that I yell at my screen. That was one of them. I wish Goku was here. And I just, he doesn't know anything about the ladies.
Yeah, exactly. Krillin imagines what it would be like to be married to Marin. Marin is, again, the Bulma clone. And
oh my God, my favorite. Okay, go.
It's so good. Goku's there for some reason, and he has one line. The entire 10-episode stretch, Goku has one line. And I can't even remember what he says. I think he says, way to go, buddy.
Yeah, something like that. Good job.
Something like that. And that's it. That's all we hear of Goku for the entire arc.
All right. So in the flashback,
flash forward,
hypothetical flash forwards, because it doesn't actually happen.
Krillin picturing his future. Yeah.
It's him and Marin and a daughter.
They have 2 other kids as well.
And then Krillin has a Charlie Chaplin mustache.
A gorgeous mustache.
He's got a Hitler stash. He's a little toothbrush.
He really does, yeah.
And he's like, that's a good look for me.
Yeah. So he's picturing this, he kind of wants a future with a family, which is nice. And cut to Kami's island Roshi's island, where it's revealed that there was no emergency and all of his friends has been called because the talking tortoise is turning 1,000 years old today. It's his birthday.
This turtle's 1,000.
And everybody like Bulma and Chi-Chi are like, why did you call us here? This is ridiculous. And then the tortoise walks in and it's like the most genuine reaction. He's like, oh, you all remembered my birthday. And he starts like tearing up. And it's like, legitimately, I felt something stir inside me. It was a beautiful moment where this turtle just feels good about his friends recognizing his 1000th birthday. It's really good.
It stops Bulma and Chi-Chi from fighting right in the middle of their screaming match, and they both turn to each other and they just kind of like slowly smile. They're like, oh, this is worth it. And they immediately cut to them giving him a huge birthday cake.
Yeah. They have a huge cake and literally 1,000 candles are lit. And it's really fun seeing the bonfire that 1,000 lit candles make. And watching Turtle try to blow out the candles is just fantastic because he's a 1,000-year-old tortoise and it goes as well as you would expect. And honestly, this episode is kind of focused more on Krillin and Marin than the set piece of Tortoise's birthday, Turtle's birthday. Krillin is kind of struggling with like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to marry Marin. I don't think I can make her happy. And Turtle comes in, 1,000 years old dude, and gives some solid advice to Krillin that he's a good guy And he definitely can make her happy if that's what he wants. And he says there's, if you're looking for something to kind of solidify the relationship, legend has it, there's a giant frickin' pearl called the Mermaid's Tear, and it's supposed to be near here. That's not all you need to secure love, but it's definitely the clincher.
Yep.
Is what he says. Truer words were never spoken. So Gohan and Krillin go on a search for this mystery pearl. Sorry. They're searching underwater. They got the masks. They got the oxygen. They're on their way back on Roshi's island. Marin fights with Bulma and Chi-Chi in a great scene where Marin calls them middle-aged and Bulma and Chi-Chi just fight about who's older, which obviously is Bulma, but Gohan and Krillin are underwater just sort of searching for this pearl, this secret treasure. They pass a pirate ship and with like golden jewels for real, and then just decide to ignore it. They head into an underwater cave where they actually do find the fabled Mermaid's Tear. They fight a giant eel from Super Mario Brothers 64, and they'd fight a bunch of fish and the eel and all that stuff. And just as they're about to grab the pearl, like a bunch of debris falls down from the ceiling of this underwater cave, and all the fish and the eel go to like hold up the debris so that the pearl is safe. And then they move the pearl over these fish, and Gohan and Krillin have a nice little conversation about how maybe they'd be more like villains than heroes if they took the pearl.
Yes,
just for personal gain.
Be like the Ginyu Force is what.
Yeah, they feel like
be a little bit like the Ginyu Force.
Krillin has this weird ass realization that Marin is like the pearl. That these fish in this cave sort of have a fondness for the pearl, and they want to keep it and worship it. And Marin's like the pearl in that it's of better value to the world at large than it is to him being selfish and keeping it for himself. I don't really understand it. We'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah, you added way more to that than I got out of it.
Yeah, so they decide to take off, and Krillin kind of breaks up with Marin. They walk on the beach together, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't really do this." And Marin's kind of cool with it because she's young and shallow, and kind of shacks up with the first guy she sees after the fact.
Well, hang on, let me give a little more detail than that, just a little bit.
We got some stuff to talk about. I'm working on it. Go ahead.
Okay, no, okay, sorry.
I don't like Marin. I want to make that perfectly clear as a character, but I understand where she's at. She's young. She's trying to figure out what's what. She's a little bit accustomed to the high luxury of life, so she likes money. She likes getting gifts. But the point of her character, I think, is not about her. This whole arc is. Select episodes of this arc, because they do just forget about it for quite some time, is Krillin and Marin and their relationship. And the point of this arc is that something that I think a lot of us can relate to. There is more to a successful relationship than getting to be with somebody that's attractive. It's something that Krillin struggles with throughout these 10 episodes. And finally, whether the rationalization is logical or not, I think subconsciously he kind of gets there where he realizes that this just doesn't work. After having Marin meet his friends, interact with them, and having an unsuccessful time like being with her, he decides the best thing for both of them is to just break up because there's somebody better along the way. And this is just re-justified by the fact that when he returns to Roshi's Island, and says, "Hey, I broke up with Marin," everybody's kind of like, "Yeah, good for you, man. She was kind of weird." And Krillin obviously is upset that the breakup happened, but like he knows that it was the right thing to do. It's a good growth moment for him, especially considering what's coming for him down the line. I think that a lot of us can relate to trying to sacrifice a lot of ourselves and a lot of like connectivity for the sake of having a relationship with somebody that's just attractive, like the very surface level relationship. It's just not what works. It's not what you should be looking for. And Krillin has to learn it, and it's a really hard lesson. And that's what these few episodes kind of teach him. On the whole, after this last episode, I kind of enjoyed that. What, John? What?
Marin's a bitch. And here's why. After Krillin decides to take her onto the beach and have a nice discussion about their relationship, Krillin says, "I know that if you love something, you have to let it go. And that's why I have to let you go, Marin." There's like long pauses for just the music fill, which is tastefully done. well edited for this breakup scene. Surprisingly, in Dragon Ball Z, they do a breakup scene right. Marin then says, I would have said yes, you know. You are doing that on purpose to hurt his feelings. Just don't talk. Just don't talk. Just don't say any words. Just exist as a face, and then you're vapid, and that's it. Just don't fucking say anything else. You don't need your adventures with the cat, where you're calling him this little kitty, and you're touching the cat. We don't need any of that. We don't need you at all. Sorry. That came from a very personal place.
Well, you're not wrong, but again, it's not about Marin. I think it's more about Krillin learning the lesson.
We could have an off-screen romance where Krillin, because the important part is Krillin. And so Krillin going and talking individually with each of his friends about the romance, not even like really getting to meet the character. It would have made so much more of an impact on me personally if this was focused on just Krillin and not trying to develop this vapid, empty nothing of a character and how bad she is for Krillin, but instead focusing on what's important for Krillin. Not is she bad for Krillin, what is good for Krillin. That's what matters. And so they should have just done that. And they didn't. And it was such a fucking waste of time to have her show up, say some really obnoxious lines, and then disappear. Because they just reintroduced Namek Bulma into the mix. That's all that they did. And Namek Bulma times youth. That's it. There could be, I really tried to reach for something deeper than this, which is she is from the normal, quotes, fingers, Dragon Ball Z world. And she's entering into this very unique offshoot of that world that kind of dictates whether everybody lives or dies, this group. And she's bringing her normal, dumb, bullshit sensibilities to that world. And it doesn't stick with any character. Like she is all the stupid evil of man that Garlic Jr. supposedly is unleashing in everybody else. It's actually Marin is the stupid evil of man. Because she shows up and turns Bulma and Chi-Chi against each other. She shows up and makes everybody feel bad. She shows up and makes Krillin feel worthless. She is the evil inside of humankind. And Krillin is at the end choosing, okay, we're better than this. As Z fighters, we have a higher duty to the whole of humanity. That's what Kami does at the very end. I will sacrifice myself. I have a higher duty to the whole of humanity. The other Guardians are just holding him back because they're dicks. It's just evilness, whatever. That's what I'm taking away from it. Marin is representative of all of the evil parts of humankind, and Krillin is choosing to be all.
Oh, man. Well, good news is now that the Garlic Jr. saga is over, we're going to get to some of my favorite Dragon Ball Z content next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. He may hate the show, but he loves that you're listening. You can contact us if you want to offer some feedback, comments, whatever you want to do. Email us at mail, M-A-I-L, at EHDBZ, wait, what's our email address?
Mail, M-A-I-L, at ehdbz.com.
Thank you. Or you can reach out to us on Twitter using the handle at Eric Hates DBZ. All of the music was done by John Good, the incredibly talented. What do I usually say? Man, I've lost everything.
I don't know. Oh, you're becoming me at the end of the last episode.
No, yeah, I'm totally I'm running on fumes here.
I write
incredibly
music.
Talented and hardworking composer John Good. You can find more of his music on SoundCloud using the name Burn7.
Yeah, you nailed it.
And
oh, hey, I just released a on SoundCloud. I guess I can shill my own shit. First time ever. I just posted some production reel demos and some demos of my music. It's just a little portfolio thing. If you want to listen to any of that, check it out. SoundCloud.com/burn7.
It's really good stuff.
Wait, is it burn7.soundcloud? I don't even know. It's SoundCloud.com/burn7. That's embarrassing. If you like this podcast and would like to see more entertainment from our team, check out Tales of Nowhere. That is TALES space OF. OF. This is why we don't do this.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Tales of Nowhere is a tabletop RPG podcast where we jump around different tabletop games and we take one cast of characters from multiple games and rule sets and tell one epic story. It's great. We're in season 2. And things are going really well. We just did a rework of our whole Discord. Check that out. Oh, shout out to our sponsors. 43rd Avenue, which is just a street, the Indian Ocean, and the color black.
I'm trying to think of a pun. Shut up.
We're about to die. Sorry, I just cut you off. Go ahead.
Nope, I had nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were just going to start.
I was kind of hoping that something would pop out.
Moving your mouth and then hoping that the rest would stream of consciousness. You mean like how I say everything?
Yeah.
The only way that I can
of human
communicate?
existence in conversation, yeah.
We're about to dive into the Android saga. So you better look out, Giro.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Eh.